everyone. Today we are going to be doing a nice and detailed summary of the book called Dopamine Detox. Now, we're going to start off with the very first chapter, which is dopamine and the role it really plays. Now, a lot of people think that dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but that's not really true. Neuroscientists explain that dopamine is actually about motivation and anticipation. It is the chemical that pushes you to take action before you get a reward. So, it's the chemical that pushes you to get into motion, to take an action before you even get the reward for it. It helped our ancestors survive, nudging them to look for food, explore, take risks, and find partners. Without dopamine, humans would basically sit still and do nothing all the time. So, dopamine really puts us into action. Now, the problem is modern life, the life that we're in right now, gives us way more stimulation than our brains were designed for. For example, the mobile phones that we're using today, scrolling on Instagram all day long or on TikTok all day long, that is so much stimulation than our brains were designed for. So, social media, video games, constant notifications, messages, they're all engineered to trigger that anticipation loop that our brain was designed for. And the more you chase quick hits of stimulation, the less satisfied you feel afterward. You get the reward, but you do not feel the fulfillment. So no matter how much times you scroll, you get those quick hits of stimulation and then you keep wanting for more and more and more. And this is why many people now cannot sit through a 2-hour long movie, because their attention span has decreased so much because of the constant stimulation, that sitting through a whole 2-hour movie cannot just fulfill their need of dopamine anymore. Now think about it. Have you ever finished scrolling TikTok or Instagram for an hour and felt a bit empty? Yeah, that happens because dopamine motivates you to chase the next thing, not to enjoy the thing you already did. Over time, this overstimulation makes normal tasks such as studying, deep work, or even conversations with friends feel boring. Your brain gets used to the instant excitement and not to the long-term rewards, which is why nowadays people can only do something short-term and not continue it for long-term, because we are ruining our brains to chase quick and instant stimulation. Before moving on, ask yourself, what do I keep coming back to when I'm bored? What is that one thing? And what is your biggest source of stimulation? And do they actually make you happy, or do they just entertain you for the moment? Now, chapter number 2 is the problem: dopamine hijacking. Now, let's talk about how dopamine gets hijacked. Dopamine is sometimes called the molecule of more because it pushes us to keep seeking. And that's exactly what addictive behaviors rely on. Not just drugs or alcohol, but also things like gambling, online shopping, binge watching movies and series, constant phone checking for notifications, endless scrolling on TikTok and Instagram. Companies and businesses, big companies that create apps, they understand this. They build their apps and notification algorithms and sounds that play directly into your dopamine seeking loop. Every ping on your phone is a tiny promise that says, hey, there might be something good waiting for you, which is why you keep checking on it again and again and again. And honestly, your brain falls for this stupid little trick every single time. Even food can do this. Now, for example, sugar and processed food, like junk food, like Lay's, and then sugary food like donuts and sweets and candies, they trigger dopamine spikes. because historically, in the previous times, sweet food and snacks like these were rare. You could not find them easily. And today, in today's world, they're everywhere. And the constant availability of this sweet food and snacks can push people towards overconsumption, even when they're not hungry. But the biggest problem isn't just distraction, it's what distraction does to your long term thinking. When you're constantly switching between apps, your brain learns to crave quick wins, not long term effort. Deep work and sitting for hours doing a task or finishing a big project feels impossible, feels super, super hard. Even a simple task starts to feel really heavy. And then the mind plays tricks on you. It starts procrastinating. It's like, I'll go back to work in a minute. Let me just scroll for 5 more minutes, then I'll go back to work. I can do this work later. I don't want to miss anything. Let me just check one more thing on my phone. This is more exciting than what I should be doing. So, this is basically your dopamine talking because it cannot sit still for hours doing one task. It needs to be in a million places at once. Before you know it, an hour passes and the task you were actually supposed to do sits untouched. So take a moment and rate yourself honestly. Which of these mind tricks do you fall for the most? Now, let's talk about the benefits of a dopamine detox, which is chapter 3. So, what is the solution to all of this that I just told you? The solution of this is a dopamine detox. Now, just to be clear, you're not removing dopamine from your body. That's just impossible because dopamine is a neurotransmitter and it's inside our body. What you're doing is you're going to reduce external stimulation so your brain can reset to a natural rhythm. And there are a few different versions of that. Number 1, the 48-hour complete detox. Now, this is the intense version. For 2 days, you must avoid all high stimulation activities, such as internet, social media, gaming, junk food, mindless entertainment. Instead, you're going to stick to simple things like walking, journaling in your diary or journal, meditation, and light stretching or yoga. Now, people compare it to a mini meditation retreat. Yes, it is very challenging, but it will clear your mental clutter fast. Now, number 2 is the 24-hour detox. Same rules for this one, but it's shorter. It's easier to do, but you won't reset your brain as deeply as the 48-hour one. For some people, this is a good introduction before trying the 48-hour version. So you can start off with the easier 24 one. Then, number 3, the partial detox. This is the pick one thing approach. Maybe YouTube is your weakness, or maybe it's TikTok, or maybe it's eating junk food, okay? You remove one major source of overstimulation for a week, an entire week. This is gentler for many people and it is more realistic. So, for example, maybe for me, TikTok is my weakness, so I am going to uninstall TikTok and stay away from it in every way possible for an entire week. So this is a partial detox. And whichever one you choose, write it down. Commit to it. Track how you feel before and after. So you're going to track each and every day how I feel without this thing in my life. Most people notice something very surprising. Tasks that used to feel impossible suddenly become easier. Your focus improves. You stop craving constant excitement and start valuing deep work again. Okay, now moving on to chapter 4, which is a 3-step method for a successful dopamine detox. So how do you start? There's going to be a simple 3-step method that many people have found effective. Step number 1 is to identify your biggest distraction. So you're going to sit down and make 2 columns on a piece of paper or on your phone notes app, and label one as cans, the things you can do, and then the other one as can'ts, so the distractions you want to avoid. On the can'ts side, write down all the habits that steal your focus or energy, like endless social media scrolling, late night YouTube binges, mindless chatting, random gaming, and unnecessary notifications. And on the cans side, the things that you will do, write down what you'd rather do instead of all those things, such as reading, journaling, walking, studying, creating, sleeping, meditating, whatever helps you feel calm or productive. Once you've made this list, keep it visible. Maybe put it on your wall, your desk, or your wallpaper of your phone so you see it every single day. The visibility will help you stay honest with yourself. So it is important to put it in a place where you can see it every single day. Step number 2 is to add friction. Make bad habits harder to do. The idea is simple. Make distractions so hard to reach and make your good habits easier. For example, turn off or mute notifications. Log out of social media apps. Delete games, delete the social media apps temporarily. Put your phone in a drawer or another room. That adds friction to the habit. Meanwhile, make beneficial tasks frictionless, make them easier. Keep a journal and a pen right on the side table of the bed. Have a book on your nightstand. Keep your study area clean. Remove barriers for what you want to do. This friction versus easy strategy helps your brain choose the right path by default, because the easy stuff is easier to access, the good stuff basically, and the bad stuff is harder to access. So your brain would want to do something that's more easier. Step number 3, start first thing in the morning. The worst type of trap, which mostly everyone does, is waking up and immediately checking your phone. That is the worst type of habit. That sets the tone for a day full of distractions. The minute you wake up and you check your phone, your whole day is going to go like that. It's going to be full of distractions. Instead, start your day with low stimulation routines. When you wake up, stretch, take a walk, meditate, drink water, write a small or short diary. Plan your day before touching your phone or device. Jot down 2 to 3 simple morning activities. Every 5 to 10 minutes of calm can reset your brain's baseline. Now, putting all of this together gives you a clear, visible plan. Here's what I will do. Here's what I will not do. Here's how I will start my day. It's like building protective walls around your focus and a soft landing for your mind each morning. Now, extra tips to maximize the detox is, first, you're going to take notes. If you feel restless or you have an urge to grab your phone, write it down and notice the patterns. You want to really notice patterns within yourself. And you're going to do that by writing down and taking down notes, like a personal diary of yourself. You're experimenting on yourself, okay? Reflect on your life. Review your long-term goals. Ask yourself, is this scroll that I'm doing right now on Instagram or TikTok really helping me get closer to them? Then, write down worries and possible solutions. Often distractions, they hide the discomfort basically. Clarifying those worries reduces the urges for escape. And lastly, name your fears. Sometimes addiction to stimulation stems from fear. Fear of boredom, fear of missing out, fear of facing yourself. So once you recognize those fears, You will avoid using stimulation as an excuse to avoid your fear. Chapter number 5, which is doing the work and overcoming procrastination. Now, the main goal is to reduce stimulation and boost focus on what actually matters. By lowering external stimulation, the detox doesn't just help you feel calm, it helps your brain value real work again. So, plan your day and be intentional. Take pen and paper, yes, analog works great. List 3 to 5 key tasks you want to complete that day in order of importance. Ask which task, if done today, would have the biggest positive effect on my long-term goals. That becomes your priority. This daily planning will help you stay in control. It will help you create less chaos, less stress, and more clarity in your life. Now, goals, short term and long term. Use this planning method for daily and weekly tasks. Also, keep in your mind your longer term vision for 1, 5, or 10 years. That is very important. Reverse engineering big goals. For example, if in 5 years you want a certain career or a skill or a job, break it down into smaller steps and schedule those smaller steps into your plan. Now, build a laser sharp focus. Designate a specific time and place for work, like a focus zone. And you're going to do this. You're going to use a calming trigger to start working. Closing your door, putting on instrumentals, some type of background music, lighting a candle, or playing a short breathing exercise. Work in uninterrupted chunks. About 45 minutes of focused effort is a good target. Then take a short break. You're going to remove all distractions. No phone in sight, no phone notifications, no background social media, and no unnecessary tabs opened up in your laptop. A big concept here is closed systems versus open systems. Closed systems are basically focused tasks with limited inputs. Think about it like writing an essay in a plain document, studying from one book. An open system is infinite distractions. So you have a lot of tabs opened up on your laptop, social media feeds, and messages. That's an open system. You're going to start your day with a closed system task, and you're much less likely to drift into distraction because an open system is full of distractions and it is going to make you derail from your actual task. When you pair detox with planning and disciplined focus, something powerful happens. Procrastination loses its grip because the brain starts treating real work as valuable and normal, not as something boring to avoid. Chapter number 6, which is avoiding dopamine relapse, staying on track long term. Relapse is when you are avoiding something for so long, and then suddenly you just give in to it after months of not doing it. So let's say you've detoxed, okay? You've planned, you've done real work, but what about after? Now, this chapter is going to help you keep the momentum because let's be honest, relapse is real. It happens and it is normal. People that smoke, they relapse, like they leave smoking for months and months, and then if they do it once more again after 6 months of not doing it, that's called a relapse. So we're going to learn how to avoid a dopamine relapse. Let's say you uninstalled Instagram, TikTok, you stopped scrolling, you start doing long hours of work, and then suddenly one day you just installed the app again and you started scrolling, and that is basically going to be called a relapse. You relapsed and you're going back into your old routine. So to avoid this, number 1, you need to be aware of relapse and you need to know it's normal. Sometimes you'll slip, sometimes you'll scroll on social media, binge or procrastinate, and it happens. So you don't have to beat yourself up for it and be hopeless and feel miserable. Instead of feeling a lot of shame, treat it like a little stumble. like you stumbled on something lightly. Recommit one day at a time. Number 2, you need to understand the mind's battle. Your brain knows how to seek quick rewards. When you deny those, it might protest. It's like a little baby, okay? That discomfort is part of resetting. Recognizing the inner resistance is a step towards mastery. Don't react emotionally. Just gently redirect your routine. Number 3, recognize external temptations. The world, apps, ads, social media, news, feed is built to steal your attention. Accept that. Don't fight it blindly, prepare for it. Your concentration is so valuable, so you need to treat it like a resource worth protecting. Number 4, prepare a contingency plan. Make a list of trigger solutions, times when you usually cave. So that could be night boredom, after work, or when you're stressed. Write down what you'll do instead, because when you're stressed or you're bored or like you've just finished work, these are the times, like peak times, when you'd want to like relax and scroll on your phone for hours and hours and hours. So you want to write down what you'll do instead. You'll read, walk, meditate, talk to a friend maybe, journal, something healthy. And then you're going to visualize yourself actually doing it. Okay, you're going to picture it in your head. That way, when the trigger hits, you have a plan. Number 5, you're going to build a sustainable system, not a quick type of fix. It's tempting to try eliminating every distraction, but that often fails. It is better to build small, consistent habits that you can sustain. For example, maybe you allow 30 to 60 minutes of social media per day, okay? You put a limit on it, but only after finishing your most important task and only in a separate time block. Number 6, cultivate here and now and neurotransmitters and mindset. Instead of chasing constant stimulation, you're going to build habits that encourage presence, calm, and real connection. Some great examples are supported by recent studies, okay? So I'm going to give you like actual real world examples. Now, there was a study in 2022 of mindfulness and meditation, and this study found out that every 10 minutes of meditation improved attention and cognitive control for non-meditators. Then, stretching, light movement, walking, nature walks, these all can reset your nervous system and help your brain recalibrate after overstimulation. Many digital detox studies reports increased calm and refreshed focus after such activities. Meaningful social interaction. This is when you're going to replace endless online scrolling with genuine conversation. Research suggests that decreased phone distraction correlates with improved psychological well-being and attention control. Periods of boredom or doing nothing. This might feel strange at first, but giving your brain space to breathe is critical for creativity, reflection, and self-awareness. If you want, you can even set a 30-day challenge. Pick 1 or 2 of these healthy habits, like a morning walk or mindful breathing, and commit to them every single day. Over time, they become defaults and distractions lose their power. If you follow all these steps from this Dopamine Detox book, you'll be more aware of your habits, you'll build routines that support your long-term goals, and you'll learn to ride the waves of temptation without being swept away. So thanks for listening to the detailed summary of Dopamine Detox, a book by Maurice. Please like and subscribe for more books and summaries.